evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Connecting Connections with Brian J. and a very special guest today. If you are looking to not be where you are today, this is the guy that you want to talk to with Via Travels. Kyle, is it Kroeger?
Kroger.
Oh,
Yes.
so
Kroger.
us here in
Yeah.
Ohio, we understand because our main shopping store is called Kroeger. Are you
Yes.
are you one of those Kroegers, Kyle?
I'm not. I have the E after the O. So if that's way to differentiate. So
Do we
I
get free
wish I was
shipping if
part
we know you? Is that what it
of
is? Free delivery?
Right, right.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome, Kyle. Welcome. First off, I love the name of your company, right? Via Travels. And even more so, after reading your bio, I really love why it's called Via Travels. Do you care to explain
Yeah.
that?
Yep. Yeah. So it's yeah, via travelers.com. So via travelers, basically via, as in traveling during our honeymoon and basically we're sitting there. Obviously via means street, right? It's a street in Italian. It's also a journey, right? Like a Latin for like, it's making way to your destination. And so in light of that, like our mantra to visit different cities has always been like street travel, like no reservations, just kind of maybe you have a brief itinerary, but you just sort of go as the wind blows. And really explore the city on foot and like on the ground, be with the culture, like absorb it as much as you can. And so it really resonated there, and the rest is sort of history. I felt like I wanted to dabble with it and learn, and I did that as a side hustle, and got the snowball rolling of just content of everything, every places that we've been and visited, and that kind of compounded over time of just audience building and finding our tribe. And so left my full-time job and now doing this full-time as a solo entrepreneur.
That's super exciting. So I'm not so much of a traveler as much as my dad moved us everywhere, being a military
Mhm.
guy. So I spent some time in Italy, and ironically enough, my son is just starting into Latin and all that good language this year, and via is one of his words
Yes,
this year.
yes,
Yes, yeah. So it was definitely something that jumped out at me. Now, so you're married. Your dad as well, right?
yes, I am. Yeah, I have a
Wow,
2.5-year-old daughter. Yep.
that's crazy. Now, does she go with you traveling? Are your plans more couple focused, especially being in
Mhm.
Italy?
Yeah, so we travel, a little bit of blend of both. If we do go just solo, it's likely just a day trip. And so we'll do that during the day, come back, and then pick her up. But then other than that, right, if we want to do something bigger, like go to Italy from Amsterdam where we are, or like even if it's a weekend trip, like with train travel, she obviously comes with, right? And so we love that dynamic. So we have a blend of both of either us doing it alone, and then even sometimes if I'll kind of do an excursion myself, if it's more like photography, videography, like oriented. Um, yeah, won't have to have my wife bear the boringness of some of that and the work that goes into that. So I usually do that solo.
Well, you mentioned something in your earlier conversation that really struck with me. I'm a planner, right? This is what we're going to do. We're going to go here, then we're going to go here, then we're going to do this. And, by the end of the day, you've really not enjoyed anything because you've been on such a timeline. You just called it something, and I can't, I thought I would wrote it down, but apparently I didn't.
Mhm.
What do you call that for that situation?
No reservations in a way. Yeah. And it
Yeah,
comes
I
off of
love
like,
that analogy of that piece to have a light itinerary, I think is what you called it.
mhm.
I did that when I went to Vegas. I knew what I wanted to do each of the days, and one of the days I wanted to travel, but there were also things I wanted to see there. So I made a plan of how I was going to travel it, but not really where I was going to go. And that did me okay. That was like an easy compromise for me to have that light reservation. Do you
Mhm.
specialize in that piece with your photography? Because you mentioned that they're not just your company just doesn't set you in on a resort and pay your fees and now you're all good. It's much more about, I think you stated, living that culture, right? Like being
Mhm.
feet in. almost grassroots, right?
100%. So like actually more time, like every single time, 90, I think 100% of the time, it's cost us money every time we do something, right? So like, yeah, I get to go and experience a new place, but like we're paying money as an expense business wise to like, you know, have these experiences and then also share it. And so, but that being said, so I'll do some light prep, right? I want, if I'm trying to capture something that like speaks the essence of the city, I'll do like planning of different locations during different times. Obviously, weather is a huge part of that. So, hey, if it's total like washout, I'll maybe, and raining all day, I'll maybe take a few photos. And if it's going to clear up the next day, maybe that's like the photo day. Um, and so, I'll read more about the history of the culture, like how can you describe this place in one word, right? Or something like, what can you kind of do to like describe it? And then from there, I'll like kind of go as the wind blows, and I'll have just a few landmarks or something that I know that are like interesting or speak to the city. And then kind of go around there. Landmarks are, and even, obviously like restaurants, cafes, and, bars and things like that too.
So let me ask you this. This is where I'll throw in my marketing pieces, whether you want them or not. When you're sending these images out to folks, for example, let's say I want to go to Philadelphia. Okay.
Mhm.
And you're sending out these images and these videos. Do you throw your own piece in there as well? Meaning, hey, this is a great place because of like, do you make it factual for them so they have that intention of what they're learning when they go there?
Yeah, yeah. We try to include that as much as possible. Like the cultural big part is for us is like the cultural heritage, the experience you get being there. And so like, that alone like can just really paint a picture for somebody before they're visiting a destination. And so we try to pair like our written words with that image within our articles that we're publishing about places. But that's just sometimes when somebody hasn't been to the place yet too. Like, and so it depends on intent. We try to match the intent as much as possible. If we know the reader is like, oh, I'm already going, but I'm looking for accommodation, then we
Right.
try to paint a little bit different picture.
Do you have a niche of a client? Meaning, I think as you just said, you have that intent, right? You have that client that's going out there that is a little bit more aware of their surroundings, a little bit more falls in love with the history aspect versus someone that might like math, right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
have that niche, or is it just a whimsical feeling and you match up accordingly?
It's a great thing. It's one thing I actually can, I kind of struggle with of being like pinpointed in one spot. And so we cover a lot of different stuff. Um, but that being said, for me, so the way we built it was it started with like a lot of my personal like, travel experience, and I was writing. We're fortunate enough to onboard more writers. We have a team of fabulous writers from 7 different time zones across the world. And so now all of them, thought that was very important because my perspective and my niche, like, only is one side of travel. Like, that's not going to be the same thing for. I can provide my recommendations, but that's only one lens, and we need to have multiple lenses and multiple personas to really help like make that travel experience more fulfilling, if you will. So so yeah, that's kind of what we've been doing. And a long-winded answer of just, we end of the day, it's like, yeah, 25 to 55-year-old, like, slight skew to female. But we have a broad range of audience, like that we try to cover as much as possible, um, to, yeah, cater to a number of different interests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get to the nitty and gritty just to make sure that we can separate you because I'm already seeing tons of differences between yourself and a, let's say, travel agent, right? And that's
Mhm.
not taking anything away from the travel agent. It's about the experience that you want to get in your travels, right? I mean,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, do you want a airport person? Do you want a pilot flying your plane, or do you want someone that, you know,
Mhm.
plays games on their Wii,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Both credential, right? One
Mhm.
probably slightly more than the other. So, in saying
Mhm.
that, let's talk about what your ideal thing is. So are you booking, planning? Are you handling flights? Do you handle like Airbnb? Um, what does that whole experience with Kyle look like?
Mhm. Yeah. So with us, it's based on personal experiences and recommendations. So if there's and so anywhere we've stayed or we've been, we'll compile a list of like different accommodation, right? And so we'll provide recommendations and like be that expert traveler that's already been through that experience to help guide somebody on that journey to learn more, right? So if somebody didn't know what hotel to stay at in Amsterdam, where I'm based, we would have a list of our top picks. Why? Because we've literally gone into them and we've talked to them. We've stayed there, and so like that's we try to bring that personal experience to life to help that travel experience be better, and then also even the other side of things like help people travel more without it costing either more money or like how to
Right.
maximize your travel basically. Yeah. Um, so that's how we kind of work. And through our newsletter, for free, we're every single day we're responding to emails of questions. Hey, I'm going to Montana. Spending 3 days. What's the best way to find a cheap flight there? I want to go there for 3 to 4 days. What's the best way, or what would you recommend? And so really that person to person interaction, we're just doing that just because we love to travel so much.
Well,
And
you mentioned
so,
a word that I think everyone enjoys in this world, right? Which is free, right?
mhm,
But so the advice and not even advice. This is, as you stated, you've been there, right? You've talked to the people, you've put your feet in the ocean, you've ate that food, you know what the towels feel like at that
mhm,
location. You
exactly.
don't always get that. So when you say, I saw a whale there, you really saw a whale, and I guarantee you that you have it documented somewhere in that story.
Mhm,
So I think that is a great piece. What are some areas that people are saying, I want to go to or I want to learn about that maybe you go, oh, sounds like we have another trip planned. I'm gonna have to see how this works out on my taxes. So
yeah.
where's the next up and coming place or the new hotspot?
Yeah, I think South Africa has been a big one. Yeah, so like yeah, Cape Town. I've heard great things. A lot of people are going there. It's reasonably priced. It is very hard to get to, is the problem, right? I mean, especially from the US, being that I'm in Europe now, it is a little bit easier, right? But it's straight shot all the way down to the other side of the globe. But yeah, I mean, food wise, underrated, eclectic culture, a lot of history. You're literally up a whole different perspective in the wildlife and the outdoors is just like, some of the best in the world, which, um, yeah, I've kind of had a little bit trouble doing. I've really missed the American national parks since moving over here.
Right.
There's plenty of national parks, but not as many. And so, like getting some of that outdoors is top of the list now. And so, yeah, a lot of people are buzzing about it. It's a matter of finding that really good, flight deal though, because it is so hard to get to.
So do you handle, not deal, do you handle a lot of US clients? Are you looking for
Mhm.
more like honeymoons, anniversaries,
Mhm.
graduation presents, or
Mhm.
I'm turning 40 and I want to have this life experience?
Yeah. So we have like our reader base is basically, 80% US, and then the rest 20% would make up the rest of the world with, number two would be United Kingdom. Our reader base is just over 1 million readers per month, or unique readers per month. And so, yeah, we cover like a lot of different geographic areas in terms of reading our content. But then when it's like our newsletter, in our email list, the people we're interacting with, it's, like more like 90% US.
Got it.
So,
Okay. Yeah, because
yeah.
you are on YouTube. You're also on
Mhm.
Instagram, Facebook, and I've seen you doing some TikToks, Kyle. What's that about?
Yeah. Yeah, I still don't understand the platform, I'll be honest, right? Like I don't know what I'm doing, to be
So
honest.
then you're perfect. Make a full of
Yeah.
yourself. do a crazy dance,
Yeah,
and you'll go viral. I mean, that's all you
yeah,
need.
yeah.
Just move your
We
lips. You don't even got to know the words.
Yeah, we have, I mean, we have just so much like documented, and I feel like we're not like I'm not doing a good enough job of like showcasing that in a lot of different ways. And there's snippets and stuff that people can learn about places. But also I like the aspect like um, a younger generation that's going to start traveling like now. And also it's a new way to think about absorbing the content and information to make better decisions. Like you can visually show it in a short form. It's just, yeah, it staying consistent is going to be an issue for me.
Well, listen, this is what I'm waiting for. There is no doubt in my mind that at some point I'll be watching a video on my laptop and smoke will come out that will be a scent that will put me in the
Yeah,
mind frame of where I am.
right.
It's going to happen. I'm
Yeah,
gonna see. I'm gonna be watching Taco Bell commercials, and a puff of scent is gonna come out where I can smell tacos.
yeah, yeah. No, and that's one of our like kind of mantras. We're so far away from it, is like trying to make them travel as immersive as possible. Like that's our big underlying goal. Like we want people to be able to feel it, to help them travel more, right? And so one thing with like our, with some of the drone pictures I'm taking is like a 360 degree like photo of a city or a landscape, and then you can use augmented reality to then like absorb into that location.
Well, I mean, it's
Um,
it's always moving, right? Like your tagline. I
mhm.
mean,
Yeah,
always moving.
yeah, always moving. Yeah, yeah,
Well,
got
speaking of
it.
always moving, and we've mentioned it or touched base on it a couple times, so I want to make sure that we make it a focal point is going to be your newsletter, right?
Hmm.
That right there over at viatravelers.com,
Hmm.
right? Travelers, there's an L in there as well as an S. But listen, over there is where you're going to find all this information. This is where you're going to see some of these outstanding photos, right? This is where you're going to see some of that engaging videography. This is where you're going to be able to engage in that newsletter. Tell us a little bit about the newsletter. Is it a monthly, quarterly, always up and going? What's that look like, Kyle?
Yeah, so initially on the onset, it's basically a free like course in a way. I don't like really using that because it gets, it's like a free training. Our big mantra with if you love to travel, number one is find out like a systematic approach to finding really good travel deals. And so we really like send out like a 5 email like sequence over 7 days or something, where we don't have this on the blog. It's literally just telling people about how we travel so much, and we use different things like cheap flight newsletters, using flight search engines, and finding really really incredible deals to travel more for less. And so like that's the beginning, and learning that, because that's a huge part of everything, is like learning that. And then we move over to like a once a week kind of destination inspiration, where we'll share exact like locations, because once you nail down like how to get deals or pay like basically nothing for a hotel, um then you'll be shocked at how much you can of the world you can explore.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the things I love about the site is in my head, I'm already asking questions like, what are the fun things to do? Or, where do I go for the best hikes, right? And you literally have those individual pieces. I mean, as far as US travel, it lists out things, right? And then you have your Europe travel. But
Mhm.
here's another thing is they give you your top destinations, right? In Japan or the Caribbean islands. It breaks it down to like if I want to budget travel, if I'm traveling with a couple,
Mhm.
vacations. So, if I'm looking for cheap flights, if that is a priority. So you really have like a search engine,
Mhm.
which is visual for someone like myself that can just say, listen, I just want to go and do camera stuff, right? I think
Mhm.
you have a camera aspect on there where you can take your pictures. So it's really nice to be able to pinpoint what I'm looking for, and then you are matching to me versus me matching to you. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Exactly. Yeah, and we're trying to do a better job of bringing all of that to the fold. Like the way we view it, like the way I view it, I mean, content is our product. So we don't have anything to sell people other than like that, right? We do have ads, obviously, but like we want, and that's only as an independent publisher, like that helps us, that keeps us going. Like we need to like be able to survive. As much as I wish I had like an unlimited budget, we don't. And so in light of that, like content is our product. And we want to showcase the product in a variety of ways. And I kind of just view it as like us building a library in a way, like of our personal experiences, or like this memory bank of like a journal, like just this massive journal. And so step into like our, Kyle's travel library along with our other writers. Like this is a little like trip down memory lane for all of us. So yeah, just building out that library of what we've actually experienced is super important for us.
For sure, for sure. So what we've learned here is travel, travel, travel. Go to South Africa, right?
Yep.
Drink plenty of
Yep.
water.
Yep. Exactly.
What
Exactly.
is the what do you find to be the most troublesome vacation faux pas that we seem to get ourselves into? Is it forgetting our documents somewhere? Is it losing luggage? What are you hearing out there um,
Yeah. That's a
currently?
great question. That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, might not where my head gravitates and I can't like stop thinking about it is just more of like false reality of like what to expect from a place. And I think like there's social media and stuff that has contributed to it and like I think like false expectations and like, you know, not documenting what's actually authentic, I guess, right? And so
Right,
people will be like, oh yeah, I want to go to Venice, Italy, and sit in take a cruise in a gondola, and it's like, you see like an image of just floating through, like no one around. Venice is your own place. You have it to yourself, and really you get there, and it's that's not the case. So like, so I think that's like a big thing that people need to be able to like, you know, make sure you get from reliable sources of like what does this like really look like right now, right? Or
right.
because I had somebody say to me, they're like, do people read articles anymore? I normally just use Instagram to figure out like what's going on or in a city, and I'm like, well, you could end up in a very, very crowded tourist like spot, being pretty frustrated if you only base your decisions just off that. And so I'd be wary of things like that. I don't know. That's something I just like instantly came to mind. Maybe it was just because I had that conversation last week, but yeah.
Nuts, nuts. Well, listen, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy.
Mhm.
Couple ways that we could reach out to you. What are some best ways to reach out to you, Kyle?
Yeah, via email. I'm the one that responds directly to all the emails. So yeah, if you go to viatravelers.com, there's a opt-in. You can subscribe to our newsletter, interact. You can literally send an email to me directly and I'll respond and we can ask any questions. If you want real-time like travel experiences that we're doing, social media is the best, but what we try to do is document like, hey, follow us along on our journey. And we'll do like step-by-step kind of things of what something looks like for where we're going. So Instagram at Via Travelers, it's at Via Travelers basically across the board. And then if you love visual components, yeah, YouTube is great because our channel, and that's a lot of the videography that I've personally done. Great way to get some shots, video.
Perfect. We have that YouTube, we have that Instagram, we have that Facebook, and the TikTok. Again, like you said, all of them they handle via travelers. Perfect.
Yes.
Well, listen, we like to ask all of our guests 20 questions. We started doing it in 20 seconds, but we realized that that was a lie. So we had to change the name just to 20 questions because you never know how long it's going to take. So, are you ready?
Hmm.
Okay, let's do this. Okay, this is really important. Wine or beer, Kyle?
Ooh, tough one. I was just in Germany where there was both beer and wine, and that became a daily struggle. Beer, I would say though, gets the leg
Okay,
up.
fair enough. Are you a craft guy?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's why you have to decide between the wine and the beer. That's why there's a
Yeah,
choice, right? Going out or staying in.
going out. I'm
Okay.
always moving.
Always moving.
Yeah,
There you are.
yeah.
True to the word. Train or plane.
Train.
Okay. Cook or do the dishes.
Do the dishes actually. Yeah.
Wow, you're the first person that has ever answered that with do the dishes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's been
If
one
you're
of
using
the
paper plates, right? I'll do the dishes. Let's use
yeah,
paper plates.
yeah,
I find this funny that my 20 questions is all about travel. It's hilarious. Vacation or do lots of things. I'm sorry, vacation to do lots of things or vacation to do nothing. I know this answer already,
yeah. It's lots of things.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Movie theater or streaming service.
Theater,
Amusement parks or regular parks.
regular parks,
Sporting
absolutely.
event or a concert.
Concert by yeah. If you asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have been sporting event, but migrated concerts,
Okay. Beach or pool.
beach.
Read a book or listen to music, Kyle.
Listen to music, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Coke or Pepsi.
Coke, the OG,
Fair enough. Vodka or whiskey.
whiskey.
Okay. Dog or cat.
Dog. Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna be friends. Going out or cooking a meal together.
Going out.
Yeah, I like to cook. Summer or winter.
Ooh, I think it's just a notch on summer, but I do like winter for some of
Okay.
its own reasons. Yeah.
I'm curious of this one. Cruise or resort.
Ooh,
I know. Like he's like neither.
res yeah, resort. I guess. Yeah, resort. Because resorts can
Okay.
be yeah, they're great.
Day trip or stay on the couch.
Uh, Day trip.
Rain or snow.
Snow.
This is the last two are super important. This one, waffles or French toast.
Ooh, French toast. Yeah.
I lived in Hawaii for some time. As I said, my dad was military, and they had the best coconut syrup for the pancakes. I've never
Oh,
found anything
so
remotely
good.
close
So
to
good.
coconut syrup. So the next question is going to determine whether or not I'm actually going to air this or not, um, or even if we're going to be friends. Apple product or Android product, Kyle?
Yeah, Apple.
Apple was great talking to you, Kyle. Take care. Have a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't be able to reach out to Kyle. No, I'm kidding aside. Somebody has to buy their stuff. I understand.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just not me. It's
yeah.
all about the memory of the thumb. If you give it to me for a month, I'll figure it out. I just don't want to
Hmm.
figure it out.
Yeah, I gotten too sticky, I guess, with them. It's like I've always wanted to try the Android, but like I'm like scared of the I don't know the learning curve. I guess now at
I
this
get
point,
it.
it's so
My son
wild.
is an Apple, and I'm like, I don't even know how to get into your phone. So you could do anything you want to do, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't even know where to look.
right,
So I'm
right.
like out Googling things to figure stuff out. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Well, listen, again, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy. Definitely reach out to this gentleman if you are looking for the experience, not just a vacation, right? But it's
Hmm.
about the experience. And more so, you're going to be able to see it, feel it. You probably can't smell it, but you might be able to hear it as well through some of his amazing videography as well as photography, putting you right there in the place, right? Wouldn't that
Yes.
be an accurate statement?
Hmm. That's the goal.
That's the
We
goal.
try.
Well, reach out to him. Feel free via travelers.com.
Hmm.
Otherwise, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your energy. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
yeah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Brian.